not Aboriginal, but what
The
were
some of the native,
the native?
so-called
The ones who
Native
came
Americans.
before Columbus. The ones who
Yeah.
came before
Came before
Columbus. That's what
Columbus.
Ivan Van Sertima used to call them.
Yes, the indigenous is what I meant to say.
There
Yes,
you go.
indigenous. We have roots here, and a lot of our ancestry for some of us goes back to the indigenous. So what began to happen when the Europeans came here and they started to um, oppress the indigenous communities, there were some of the Native Americans that decided to or were forced into inbreeding with the European and with the Caucasian, and some voluntarily did that. Many of them still do today. They lighten their skin as soon as they get a chance. But there were many of them who fought against that and decided not to do that. They were cast out of Native American tribes, and then they were lumped in together with our ancestors of the slave trade, and they became one people. So that's how we have indigenous roots here, and we have roots from the slave trade.
Dwight Yehuda says, when I went to Liberia, I was told I wasn't Black in a very disrespectful way. I've been to Africa 3 times and never felt at home.
Man, Toda for sharing that experience, man. We're talking about firsthand experience that a lot of the family has. Let me play this.
Y'all, I don't know who planned the boycott, okay, for August. But whoever did that shit, bravo to you.
Excuse the language, y'all. I don't know where it is profane language, but I tried to get clean stuff, so please forgive. She does a lot here. Okay, so we'll just focus on this. Could you read that?
Whoever was planning the boycott and set it for August, y'all did a masterful draw out. They exposed TF out, these folks. Black Americans playing chess, not checkers. They unmasked them like the mystery game. I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Like Scooby-Doo, huh? See, they were dressed up like us. They cosplayed like us in order to get what belonged unto us, our inheritance. When you overlook your lineage-based ancestry, then what happens is your inheritance is stolen. When you overlook your lineage-based ancestry, your heritage gets stolen. That's what happened with Esau. He gave up his lineage, thereby he forsook his heritage, his birthright, and he was accursed. So we can no longer afford to overlook our birthright for the sake of just going along to get along. We don't wish anybody any harm. We're not violent. We're not saying we want to see violence happen to any of these people, any of the brothers and sisters in the diaspora, even the ones that disagree with us. We wish peace to our people, and even those who are not our people, who might be of Ham, but it's not the same on both sides, and we have to understand it. I'm going to play this. I can empathize. Sorry, I'm going to play this video because it's very important. And could you send me those articles? If you could,
where do you want me to send them?
Straight to here.
Your iPad?
Mm-hmm.
Affects African Americans in a very interesting way, which is actually both the universities and the corporate employers are literally, this is true, they literally import Africans so that they don't have to hire African Americans.
This is a tech billionaire, and he's telling you the unfair practices that universities and corporations have had when our ancestors and our people fought for justice. See, DEI and affirmative action, those were rights that were given to our people based on the suffering and the chattel slavery that our lineage went through. So how are the programs that were set up for our ancestry and our people given away to immigrants who never suffered what our people suffered here? If you hadn't been through chattel slavery in America, How can you call yourself a person of color or an African American and you're not born here and don't have any lineage ties, lineal ties here? How do you then benefit off of the programs that were set up for the descendants of slavery? And when it comes out to become violent, to become belligerent, to become hateful, when we point out, hey, these programs were set up for our people, for the descendants of slavery based here in the United States. If you had oppression and if you had slavery or any other of that history outside of the U.S., we're not trying to diminish your experience, but you have to take that up with the government of the land which you come from.
Okay.
And you have a government that
Right.
you can use to go fight for these things. We
Right.
have no government.
Right. We are a people without, they have named us and as a people without a nation. We are black. They call us black.
Right.
No nation.
And if you come from Africa and you say, hey, I'm from Nigeria, well, if you are oppressed in Nigeria, you have to take that up with your government. But hey, the government of your people are your people.
It's not picking up your airdrop.
Okay, send it to my phone. The government of your people are your own people. We're not quite like that. But now what they're doing is people are running under the pretense, the false pretense, or cosplaying as African Americans in order to run for mayor, in order to run for governor, in order to run for president. Cosplaying as foundational Black Americans. And when this is brought out as a problem, because we don't go to Africa or the Caribbean and we don't cosplay as them and then, you know, start trying to take their land and their property. If I put on a, you know, if I put on an African accent and go to Ghana, am I now entitled to some land? Am I entitled to property? Am I entitled to houses? Go ahead.
Charlena says, you know, family, how come the Hamite Africans don't have all this big bad talk for the colonizers of their countries, that they bow their heads and kowtow and dance for them and let them steal?
Absolutely. This is facts.
So
Facts.
let me touch on what she just said. The reason why they don't is because a lot of the ones that you see over here in this country, they got rich off of the colonization. Their ancestors were the ones that benefited from the slave trade, got rich when the British and the French went into their countries. These were the if you go to some places in Africa, the poor people, they're some of the friendliest people in the world. But these people that have immigrated over here are the descendants of those that have these deals with the colonizers. They are the top of the line tribes, right? And they look down on other tribes in Africa. Right. And then they come over here with that type of racism that they have for their own, for other tribes in Africa, and they apply it to us. That's why, because they've been in cahoots the whole time. And we're gonna jump into that. That was prophesied by Noah that was going to happen, that they are the tools of white supremacy. So all these Nigerians you see over here, rich, it's because they worked with the colonizers to get those oil block leases.
Yes.
Okay, let's keep it above. We built this country from ground up. They colluded with oppressors and oppression, got rich, and now they're coming over here acting like they're some savvy business people.
Twice now. They're in there twice now.
Okay, that's fine. That's okay. Absolutely. You know, like you said, these are the descendants of the slavers, the ones who captured us and sold us, and they maintain the wealth and the status in their nations in Africa, and they have the resources to send their family over here to the United States to come here for a quote unquote better life. But their better life is at the expense of foundational Black Americans. I'm going to play this again. This is a tech billionaire, talking about the unfair hiring practices of universities and major corporations, which many Africans have benefited from and refuse to acknowledge their benefits off of our backs.
Affects African Americans in a very interesting way, which is actually both the universities and the corporate employers are literally, this is true, they literally import Africans so that they don't have to hire African Americans because they still count as black. There's a great story. The thing that woke me up to this, there was a story in the New York Times 20 years ago about Harvard. This is
20 years ago. This is from June 24th, 2024. And we're going to take a look at this article today. This shows you this was intentionally done. The Africans were in collusion with these universities and these Fortune 500 companies to put down on applications that they are African American. So when they applied for schools and they applied for jobs that were supposed to be designated for foundational Black Americans, they lied and said under false pretenses, yes, I'm African American. Thereby, they could steal scholarships, housing, jobs, benefits, credit, tuition, all types of cash and prizes. And then they did this in secret for decades, pushing true foundational Black Americans closer and closer into poverty. So for those foundational Black Americans that don't think this is important, as I heard a brother say, this is all about economics. In economics, we have people coming here and they're trying to economically destroy Black America. And if you remain silent, in 10 years from now, foundational Black Americans will have no wealth.
Right.
We will own no property and have no wealth because other immigrant groups are coming and posing as foundational Black Americans to steal our resources. Can you read that?
Mm-hmm. Top colleges take more Blacks, but which ones? At the most recent reunion, and this is from June 24th, 2004.
This is 20 years ago. If it happens at Harvard, one of the top universities in the United States of America, trust me, this is going on everywhere. At every university, in every college, we have Africans. We've even shown Indians putting down that they are African American because some of them come from Uganda. They colonized Uganda and they stayed in Uganda. And then from Uganda, they come to the United States. So if you've got Hindu Indians living in Ghana from colonizing there and then coming here, then they're claiming they're African American. And the Hindu Indians are stealing our heritage just the same because they're melanated. Skin color is not enough to define us. Saying we're Black is not enough, family. We have to return to our biblical roots as the tribe of Judah.
Right.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.